Good morning again and welcome to Mount Carmel Bible Church. Thank you all for showing up, and thank you for listening and watching wherever you're listening and watching. Appreciate you, and we hope that someday you'll be able to come and join us in person. I'm Pastor Richard. Beautiful day out today. It's kind of cloudy and stormy yesterday. I got caught in it when I was at work, but the plants needed it, the animals need it, the ground needs it. And it's good that the Lord has this perfect plan to balance everything and take care of everything. So we appreciate that. But it's a beautiful day this morning, and He got us all here safely, and we can praise the Lord for that. All right, today, as some of you know, I've been kind of stuck in Luke the past couple of weeks, and we're going to continue that tradition this week. What I wanted to talk about today was how do we prioritize our lives? I mean, we've got a lot of things going on, and this past couple of weeks, getting the kids ready for school. Sorry, Bonnie, I keep bringing that up. I know how you start twitching when we talk about it, but it's going to happen. We're going to be talking about that today. But we're trying to get the kids ready for school, and a lot of things going on. We have to get them registered. We have to get them make sure that they get all the supplies they need, and time is of the essence, right? Everything's got to be done now. There's all kinds of things that are coming up, and we got to run around, and work has been crazy. Just been busy. There's so many things going on. So how do we prioritize our lives? How do we figure out what should be done first and what can be settled on later? It's kind of a hard thing to do. I mean, we all go through it. I know I'm not the only one. Daryl and his family, their priority this week was they needed a break from life before so they can recharge themselves, spend quality time with their family, and then go at it. And when the school starts, they're going to be going crazy again. So their priority was, we're going to take a weekend off. We're going to go enjoy the weather. We're going to enjoy their family. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a choice they made, right? Some of us, we've got a lot of different kinds of choices. We've got personal choices, and we got family choices, and then we've got work choices, and all kinds of other choices that we have to deal with. And here's some of the things that I thought about when I was writing this and thinking about it. My personal choices, some of them are like, first, I guess priority would be work. No one really wants to admit that, but we have to prioritize our job because that has connections to everything else. You don't work, you don't make money. You don't make money, you don't pay bills. You don't pay bills, you don't eat. You don't eat, you don't have a place to stay. There's all kinds of things that go along with that. So I put work up there as a higher priority. Just one of the things that came to mind first. Something we have to think about. And of course, bills. We have to pay those bills. We don't want to pay those bills, but we got to pay those bills, right? Errands. There's always something that comes up. I got 2 kids here. They always have things that they need. Every time I come home, and they got big smiles on their face, and the table is set and food is ready to go. I know it's going to be expensive. And when they say it's not always like that, I know it's going to be really expensive.
No, it's not.
Everybody, they're all laughing because they know I'm right.
It's only $100.
Look, but that's one of the things that come up, right? Maintenance of the house, everything. You have a house, things break. You have a car, things break. Things break down, you have to do maintenance. When you see that tire looking a little, you see the cloth on the tire, that stuff, it's time to get new tires, right? Or you should have gotten new tires earlier. Things come up, you have to figure out the priorities of all that stuff. And then you got appointments to make. You've got doctors to see, you've got dentists to see, you've got eye specialists, you got all kinds of appointments you got to make and keep. And those things come up. So all of those things are going on in your life. With family, you got school. Sorry, Bonnie. You got appointments that your family has to make, and I'm sure you have to remind your other half they have appointments to make, like hearing appointments or whatnot. You have to remind them that they have to take their medicine. You're responsible for your family as well, so you have that as priority too. You got all kinds of things going on. And you still have to make sure you have quality time. It's time that you can spend with each other and just relax and enjoy each other. Otherwise, you're just going to hate each other. You're just going to get on each other's nerves, and it's going to be crazy. And then, of course, this would be my daughter's number one, is food. You got to make sure you have food. You have to have food for tomorrow. You have to have food for now. You have to, get stuff out of the freezer and thaw it out. I mean, that's a priority. You're juggling all this stuff. All these things are going on. So how do we figure out what is priority? What is most important? With worry about what may or may not happen in the future, it is hard to focus on the now. And when we're not focusing on the now, we may be missing stuff that is more important. A lot of the times when we think about the things that we have to do, we may lose the things that we can be doing now. We're planning for the future. We're making sure we have things lined up for tomorrow, but we forget about today. We forget about what we can be doing right now for ourselves, for our families, and things get messy. So when I was in the Bible studying for other things, this came to me, and this really made it clear to me how to prioritize. How should we prioritize our lives with all the craziness going on? And I get it out of Luke 10:38 through 40, Martha and Mary. Now, as they went on their way, Jesus entered the village, and a woman named Martha welcomed him into her house. And she and her sister, called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to his teaching. But Martha was distracted by much serving. And she went up to him and said, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Tell her then to help me." Now we got the scene here, right? I know some of us have entertained guests more often than others. Some of us have that no trespassing, do not disturb sign on the front door, right? But the ones who have guests, we have to make sure that the house is clean. We have to make sure that we're welcoming. We've got, when someone comes in the door, we have to say, okay, we've got the bathroom is over here, emergency exits here and here. We gotta give the spiel, right? You gotta show them the house, show them where everything is. You got that responsibility. Oh, and you gotta get out the snacks. You gotta let them know, here we got snacks. And if you know they were coming and you prepared that meal, you gotta get everything out. You gotta get the table set. You gotta get everything ready to go. You gotta make sure the trash is out so you have nice fresh trash cans so they can throw all the food away that you spent hours working on. Or in my case, went to the store and got. You prepare yourself for your guests. And you're spending all this time working on serving, like Martha. You're running around making sure that everything's just right, making sure your guests are happy. Now at this time, Jesus didn't come into Martha's home alone. We can assume that, right? At this time, he had his entourage with him. He had his disciples. He had other people around that were following him, learning from him, listening to him, wanting to know more about his teachings. So when Jesus came into Martha's house, Martha had a house full of people. And in that time, in that culture, what are some of the things that she would have to do? Wash their feet, their guests. Come into my house, I'm not washing your feet. Not going to happen. But that was part of the custom at the time. Wash their feet, anoint the guests with oil. A lot of that had to do with, hygiene and stuff, especially if somebody's been out walking all day. Probably have a little odor to them. So you anoint them with oils to cover that odor up, and you wash their feet, get the dirt off. That's the polite thing to do at the time in that location. So she had to do all of that, and guests are hungry. You feed them. You bring out the food. You bring out the wine. You continue to make sure they're comfortable because they're your guests. She was all about that. A good host. But she was getting a little upset because every time she'd come in to the room where Jesus was to bring another plate of food, to bring some cloth, to wipe off feet or clean up messes, pick up trash, there's her sister laying down, doing nothing. We all know a situation like this, right? How many mothers have been cooking holiday meal maybe, and you go find your husband is sitting there on the couch watching TV, doing nothing. What do you say to him? Hey, you'd be nice, right? That's how it always starts. It would be nice. It would be nice if you could help me a little bit, which is translated into, you better get your butt off that couch and get out there and help me, right? Lori's not saying a word. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. It would be nice if you took the trash out. It would be nice if you helped set the table. Now, when we talk to the children, it's a little different. Get off the game. Put your phone down. Set the table. Like I asked you to. They didn't hear you the first 5 times, right? That's how things run, right? Martha was expecting her sister to help out. Instead of saying, hey sis, it would be nice if you got up and helped, what did she do? She went to the boss. Hey Jesus, what do you think of this? I'm doing all the stuff by myself. What do you think is going on here? Could you tell her to help me? So what do you think is going to happen? See, Jesus does respond, but probably not in the way Martha was expecting him to. Jesus went on in Luke 10, 41 and 42, but the Lord answered her, Martha, Martha, you are anxious and troubled about many things, but the one thing is necessary. Mary has chosen a good portion, which will not be taken away from her. Mary chose, I know parents are looking at their children and thinking, I know what she chose. She chose to be lazy. But no. She chose to listen to her guest. She chose to spend time with the people that are here to visit. Instead of running around and worrying about, am I being a good hostess? Am I taking care of everybody? Mary was enjoying the time with the people that were there while they were there. That's a lesson we should all take with us, especially around the holidays. I remember Thanksgiving growing up. I've told the story before, how the children would go out and play, spend time with each other. My cousins, and we would go out and do that. The men would go out and drink beer and talk about sports and hunting and that kind of thing, and enjoy the time they had with each other. They would converse, tell their fishing stories, tell their hunting stories, and then when the game came on, they all gathered in the living room and watched football. Spending time with each other, enjoying that time with each other. And of course the mothers, the aunts, the women were all be in the kitchen making amazing smelling food, and I'm not sure about this, but I think they were just wafting it through the house so that we'd all get even more hungry, right? That's a trick women do, right? Put the little fan on, blow it through that. But they were also conversing, swapping recipes. At least they did it at the time. They would also talk about what's been going on in their family. They were spending time with each other. Yes, they were busy getting things done, but they were spending time with each other. They were enjoying that time. Now, I have to admit, when I first started working on the sermon, my focus wasn't about spending time with each other. It was my focus was about Mary and Martha. Martha was busy working while Mary was listening to Jesus. And my focus was, originally, let's think about what we do every day and make sure we're doing the right thing. Not working for the world, not working for what's going on in the distractions that we have, but we need to be working for Jesus. We need to be working for God. And that is true. That is 100% true. There is no question about that. Every single thing we do, we owe to God. And we should be focused on God all the time. But also, when God is giving us the opportunity to spend with each other, enjoy that opportunity. It's a gift. We only have so much time that we have on this earth. We only have so much time that we have interacting with each other. Sometimes we only see each other Sunday mornings. So we get here a little late. We have coffee and talk a little bit before the sermon starts, before the singing starts. That's fine. We get together and talk a little bit more after the service. That's great. We should be focused on God. We should be focused on learning and praising Him. But He's also given us this church and this opportunity to spend with each other, to learn about each other, to care about each other, to get to know each other. It's another reason why we do the prayer requests, so we get to know what's going on in each other's lives. Because we're a church family. And when we're given opportunities to spend with our family, spend it with our family. Enjoy that time. Now, I'm not saying don't pay the bills. I'm not saying don't go to work. But our priority should always be the relationships that we have. Jesus came here to show us the relationships were important. The relationship with God is most important. But if we don't have relationships with each other, we're not really following Jesus. Okay, clicker. No, you're not working. Maybe I spent too much time on that slide. Another Bible verse. There we go. Some encouragement, some encouraging thoughts we should also have with this. From Matthew 6:26. Behold the fowl of the air, God feeds the birds without sowing, without their reaping. But they do work for which they were created. They poop on my car. Birds do bird things. They were created for a purpose, and they fulfill that purpose. And God takes care of them. They don't plow the fields. They don't plant the grain. They don't have to harvest the grain. It's just provided to them. Grass grows. Even when there's no water, they go dormant until the rain comes. God has taken care of these things without anybody else's help. He just has it taken care of. And they do what He created them to do. So too, He will take care of us. Not in idleness, but if we do the work for which God created us. Why were we created? We were created to worship Him, to follow Him, to trust in Him, to believe in Him, to learn about Him, and to act like He has given us the example. That's why we're created. And if we follow that model, if we follow His example, if we do what we were created to do, then we shouldn't have to worry about anything. Because if God is going to take care of the birds, because they're doing bird stuff, He's going to take care of Patsy, because Patsy's doing Patsy stuff. Patsy's doing what she was created to do. And no, let's not chase me around with a spatula or make an ice cream. She follows God. She loves God. She learns about God. She worships God. So let's keep that in mind. When things get crazy, we'll get busy, we get distracted, we are doing things that we're supposed to be doing to survive and keep things in our lives together, to keep the roof over our head, the clothes on our backs, the food in our belly. Don't forget the reason why we're here. Don't forget what's important. Following God and following His example and the relationships that He's given us. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for these wonderful people. Thank you for everyone that you put in my life and each other's lives. Give us the wisdom, the strength, and the courage to remember that you put us here for one reason: to follow you, to worship you, and to show others who you are. Lord, thank you for every opportunity you've given us, and please help us to make all the right choices, the choices that you wish us to make. In Jesus' name, amen.